Ethan drove slowly down the quiet street, his mind still heavy from the day. Work had been long, the garage messy, and his thoughts kept drifting to Lily, his 9-year-old daughter, who waited for him at home. She had grown so fast, and sometimes he felt he wasn't doing enough for her. The sky was painted with soft shades of orange and purple, the kind of evening that made the world feel peaceful. But tonight, peace was nowhere in sight. Then he saw her. Lily was kneeling on the sidewalk, her small backpack tipped to the side. She was talking to someone or something, but from a distance Ethan couldn't see clearly. His heart skipped a beat when he realized it wasn't another child. Something about the shape, the trembling figure beside her made him freeze. It was a girl, but not human. The alien skin was a pale, shimmering blue, almost like moonlight on water. Her eyes were enormous, black and glossy, reflecting fear and loneliness in a way Ethan had never seen before. She shivered, rapping, her thin arms around herself as if the world were too big and cold. Her clothes were ragged, torn in places, and she had a small cut on her elbow, faintly bleeding. "Dad!" Lily shouted, waving desperately as she noticed him. She needs help." Ethan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Fear and confusion battled inside him. Aliens were rare in this sector, and most people avoided them. Laws were strict. People said keeping one was dangerous. But as he stepped out of the car, his gaze met the alien girl's, and in that instant, all fear melted into something else. Compassion. The alien girl's voice was barely a whisper, trembling with fear and pain. "Please, don't leave me. I have nowhere." Lily's eyes filled with tears. Her small hand reached for Ethan's, tugging him closer. "Dad, can she stay with us? Just for tonight?" Ethan swallowed hard. His rational mind screamed no. A stranger. An alien. Unknown risks. But the pleading in Lily's eyes, the little hopeful tilt of her head, made him pause. "Dad. Can she stay with us forever?" Lily asked again, softer this time, as if the words themselves were fragile. The alien girl echoed her softly in her own language, repeating the same words, hoping, begging. Ethan looked from Lily to her and back again. He had no answers. All he knew was that two small girls, one human, one alien, were looking to him for protection, for love, for safety. He took a deep breath. "Okay," he said finally, his voice gentle but firm. "For tonight she can stay." Lily's face lit up like the sun breaking through clouds. She ran to the alien girl, who stumbled slightly in surprise, and hugged her tightly. The alien stiffened at first, unsure what to do, then slowly returned the embrace. It was awkward, fragile, and beautiful all at once. Ethan knelt down, examining her more closely. She was small, maybe the same age as Lily, and utterly defenseless. Her hands trembled as she held Lily's, her whole body wrapped in silent fear. Ethan realized she wasn't just a stranger. She was a child. A scared, lonely child, in need of a family. "You're safe now," Ethan said softly, more to himself than to her. He didn't know how he would manage. He didn't know if he could keep her. He only knew that, for tonight at least, she would not be alone. The alien girl whispered a tiny word he didn't understand, but it sounded like hope. Lily smiled and squeezed her hand as if to tell her everything would be all right. And for the first time in weeks, Ethan felt something he had almost forgotten. Warmth, like the world had suddenly grown brighter in the middle of his ordinary life. As he led them both to the car, he glanced up at the fading sky, and for a moment, he allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, this strange encounter was the beginning of something extraordinary, for all of them. Ethan drove the car slowly, glancing at the little alien girl in the back seat. She stayed still, hands folded on her lap, her wide eyes staring out the window as the world passed by in streaks of orange and purple. Lily kept her hand on the alien's, giving it a gentle squeeze every few seconds, as if silently saying, "It's okay. I'm here." Ethan didn't speak at first. He was unsure what to say, unsure how to make sense of the impossible situation. The alien girl didn't speak much English, only small words here and there, and her voice was soft, almost musical. When she finally looked at him, her expression was a mixture of fear, hope, and pleading. "Please," she whispered. The word was fragile, trembling, like a leaf in the wind. Ethan's chest tightened. He had never seen someone so small and helpless, yet so desperate. Lily spoke up, her voice quiet but firm. "Dad, she doesn't have anyone. She's all alone. Can we keep her? Please?" Ethan's mind raced. There were rules about aliens living on human worlds, strict regulations that could get him in trouble. People might call the authorities or worse, try to take her away. He thought about his small apartment, the tiny bedroom Lily shared with him, the bills, the responsibilities. It all screamed, no. But then he looked at Lily. Her small face, so full of hope and love, mirrored the alien girl's own silent plea. He realized something that made him swallow hard. This wasn't about rules or fear. This was about doing the right thing. About giving a child a chance at safety, at love, at family. I don't know," he said slowly. "It's complicated." Lily shook her head. "It's not complicated. She's like my sister, Dad, don't you see?" The alien girl's voice joined Lily's, a small, hesitant echo of the same words. "Sister," she whispered, her accent strange but clear. She reached out, her tiny fingers brushing Lily's cheek as if testing if this world could be safe. Ethan felt something warm bloom in his chest. He had raised Lily alone after his wife died. He had tried to fill the emptiness with routines, lessons, and bedtime stories. But this was different. This little girl, blue-skinned, frightened, utterly alien, needed him now, and deep down he wanted to help. When they arrived home, Lily practically dragged the alien girl into the apartment. Ethan followed slowly, his mind still unsure, but his heart softening with every step. The alien girl's eyes widened at the sight of a warm, cozy home. The smell of cooking, the soft glow of lights, and the familiar clutter of toys and books seemed to comfort her. Lily led her to the small kitchen table. "Sit here," she said, gently nudging her new friend into a chair. She grabbed a bowl of soup still steaming and placed it in front of the alien girl. "Eat, you must be hungry." The alien girl stared at the food, unsure. Ethan knelt beside her. "Go ahead," he said gently. "It's safe. No one will hurt you here." After a long pause, the alien girl picked up the spoon with trembling hands. She tasted the soup and tears welled in her eyes. Lily smiled, softly brushing a tear from the alien girl's cheek. "See? You're safe. You're home." Ethan's throat tightened. He had never seen someone so small, so fragile, react to such simple human kindness with such raw emotion. It was humbling. And in that moment, he understood that family was not just about blood. It was about choice, love, and protection. That night, as Lily tucked the alien girl into her bed, she whispered, "Don't worry. We'll take care of you. You can stay." The alien girl's large black eyes shone with gratitude. "Forever?" she asked softly, almost afraid to hope. Lily nodded. "Forever." Ethan stood silently in the doorway, watching them. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring, or the days after that. He knew challenges would come and danger might be waiting just outside. But for now, in this small apartment filled with warmth and soft laughter, he realized something important. Sometimes, love and compassion were more powerful than fear. And sometimes the human heart could open wide enough to make a stranger into family. The apartment was quiet that evening, except for the soft hum of the heater and the occasional creak of the floorboards. Ethan watched as Lily and the alien girl, whom they had started calling Mira, explored the small living room together. Lily had pulled out a few toys, showing Mira how to stack blocks and roll a toy car across the floor. Mira's movements were slow and cautious at first, her fingers delicate and unsure. But soon, a small smile appeared on her pale blue face, and the sound of her soft musical giggle filled the room. Ethan leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, trying to remain calm. He felt an unexpected warmth in his chest, watching his daughter and this strange girl bond. But the rational part of him couldn't stop whispering warnings. He knew the rules. Aliens weren't supposed to live among humans. People might come looking for her. And yet, he also knew that Mira was just a child, lonely, afraid, innocent. And right now, she needed them. "Here, Mira," Lily said gently, handing her a small blanket. "You can sit here with me while we play." Mira took it hesitantly, her big black eyes blinking as she studied Lily. She didn't speak much English, but her gestures were clear. She reached out and gently touched Lily's hand, as if saying thank you without words. Lily squeezed her hand in return, smiling. When dinner time came, Ethan prepared a simple meal. Warm soup, some bread, and a few scraps of vegetables. Mira stared at the food, uncertain. Her body tensed as if she expected it to disappear or perhaps feared it wasn't real. Ethan knelt beside her chair, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe now. Eat." She looked at him, eyes wide and unblinking, then slowly lifted the spoon. The first bite made her pause. Her little shoulders shook, and then, unexpectedly, a tear rolled down her cheek. Lily immediately noticed and reached over, wiping it gently. "It's okay, Mira," she said softly. "We just want you to be safe and happy." Ethan swallowed hard. His heart ached at the sight. He had known grief before, losing his wife, raising Lily alone, but this was different. Seeing someone so small, so alien, respond to kindness with such raw emotion made him realize the power of human compassion. For the first time in years, he felt like he was doing something truly meaningful. After dinner, Lily guided Mira to the bedroom they shared. Mira hesitated at the threshold, her eyes darting around the small space as if afraid it might vanish at any moment. Lily reached out and took her hand. "It's okay," she whispered. "This is your bed too now. You don't have to be scared." Mira climbed into the bed slowly, curling up beside Lily. Ethan watched from the doorway, his chest tight with emotion. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring, or how long they could keep her. But in that moment, it didn't matter. Mira was safe. She was warm. She was loved. And for a little girl who had nothing, that was everything. As Ethan turned to leave, Mira's small, trembling voice reached him. "Thank you." He paused. "You don't have to thank me," he said softly. "Just rest now. You're home." Lily wrapped an arm around Mira, and the two girls settled under the blanket. Mira's breathing gradually slowed, her tiny body relaxing for the first time in what felt like forever. Ethan closed the door quietly, leaning against it for a moment. The apartment was quiet again. But this time it was a quiet filled with hope. It was a quiet that promised warmth, safety, and the possibility of family, even for those who were different, lost, or alone. Ethan knew the night wouldn't erase all challenges. He knew rules and dangers waited outside. But right now, in this small, crowded apartment filled with soft blankets and shy smiles, he understood something important. Sometimes, a simple act of kindness could change a life forever. And tonight, two little girls, one human, one alien, had found a home in each other. The next morning, sunlight spilled softly through the curtains, painting the small apartment in warm golden light. Ethan woke to the sound of soft giggles. He rubbed his eyes and looked toward the living room. Lily and Mira were sitting on the floor, surrounded by toys and blocks, building towers and laughing at each tiny collapse. The sight made Ethan smile despite the weight of worry still pressing on his chest. Mira had started to feel more comfortable. She no longer clung to Lily so tightly, though she always kept her small hand within reach. Her movements were slower, more confident, and sometimes, just sometimes, she would glance up at Ethan with a small, shy smile. Lily noticed these little moments and beamed proudly. "See, Dad? She's happy." Ethan nodded, his heart tightening. He wanted to agree, but part of him still feared what tomorrow might bring. He knew the authorities could come knocking any day, demanding Mira back. He knew the law didn't recognize the family they were becoming. But as he watched Mira gently place a block on top of Lily's shaky tower, he felt a different kind of law. The law of compassion, the law of family, guiding him. Breakfast was a quiet affair. Mira hesitated at the table, her hands barely touching her bowl of porridge. Ethan reached over and placed a reassuring hand near hers. "You don't have to be afraid," he said softly. "You're safe here. You're with family." Mira blinked slowly, then nodded. She tasted the porridge carefully, her large black eyes shining. Lily reached across and fed her a small bite, making Mira giggle at the unexpected warmth of such human gestures. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had raised Lily alone, teaching her about kindness and patience, but now he realized the lessons were coming full circle. Mira was teaching him too, teaching him that family could extend beyond what he had ever imagined. By mid-morning, Ethan had to go to the garage to work. Lily ran after him, dragging Mira along. "Come see, Dad."
Mira wants to help.
Ethan laughed softly. "I'm not sure she's ready to fix engines yet," he said, ruffling Lily's hair. Mira's eyes sparkled with curiosity as she followed them into the garage. Ethan handed her a small tool, showing her how to hold it safely. She copied him carefully, her tiny fingers gripping the metal with care. Every small achievement, every little smile made Ethan realize just how strong she was. "You're really brave," he said gently. Mira looked up at him, tilting her head. She didn't speak, but the softness in her eyes said more than words ever could. Lily smiled at her, proud of her friend. "See, Dad? She's learning so fast." The afternoon passed in quiet joy. Lily taught Mira simple games like catching and hide-and-seek in their small apartment, while Ethan watched from the doorway, wiping grease from his hands. Mira laughed more freely now, a sound that was almost musical. Ethan realized something profound. In just a few days, this alien girl had changed his home completely. She had brought life, laughter, and warmth where there had been routine and solitude. When evening came, the three of them sat together on the small couch, sharing a simple dinner. Mira leaned against Lily, content and calm, while Ethan quietly observed. He had begun to see her not as an alien, not as a stranger, but as part of their family. She had her own quirks, her own fears, and her own ways of showing affection, but she fit. "Dad," Lily whispered after dinner, her eyes shining. "I think she's really happy here. Thank you for letting her stay." Ethan smiled, swallowing the lump in his throat. "She's safe," he said softly. "And that's what matters. We'll take care of her." Mira, listening closely, pressed her small hand against Ethan's. It was a quiet gesture, but it carried immense trust and gratitude. Ethan held her hand for a moment, feeling the invisible bond forming between them. He realized then that family wasn't always about blood. Sometimes it was about love, patience, and choice. And tonight, as the city lights flickered outside their window, Ethan understood that their little trio, human, and alien, had already become something extraordinary. For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt hope. Not the fleeting hope of a good day or a quiet night, but a deep, steady hope that they could face the world together. The next evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the city in shades of red and gold, Ethan felt a strange unease in his chest. The apartment, once filled with warmth and laughter, now seemed quiet in an uncertain way. Lily and Mira were playing quietly on the floor, stacking blocks and whispering to each other, unaware of the shadow that was approaching their doorstep. A low hum broke the peaceful moment. Ethan's eyes narrowed as he saw a black hover vehicle slow to a stop outside the building. It was sleek, intimidating, and official-looking. His stomach sank. He knew immediately what it meant. The vehicle's door opened and two men in dark suits stepped out. Their expressions were cold, professional, and unyielding. Ethan's heart pounded. He had feared this moment, and now it had arrived. Knocking sharply on the door, one of the men spoke with a voice that left no room for argument. "Mr. Carter, we are aware that you are harboring a non-registered alien child. You are required to surrender her immediately." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. He looked at Lily, who had stood frozen, her small hand clutching Mira's tightly. Mira herself had shrunk back, her large black eyes wide with fear. She whispered a tiny word Ethan didn't understand, but it sounded like a plea. "No," Lily shouted suddenly, stepping in front of Mira. "You can't take her. She's my sister." Ethan stepped forward, placing himself between the men and the girls. His hands were clenched into fists, but his voice was steady. "She's just a child. She doesn't belong to your rules or your papers. She belongs with family." The taller man's face hardened. "You understand the consequences of defying the authorities. Keeping her is illegal. You could face imprisonment, fines, and permanent loss of guardianship for your own daughter." Ethan's chest tightened. He had thought about this before, imagined the possibility, but hearing it out loud made it real and terrifying. He glanced at Lily, whose small face was set with determination. She was willing to fight for Mira just as she had for the past week, and Mira Mira was trembling, looking at him as if asking silently, "Please protect me." Ethan took a deep breath. He had no easy choice. If he handed Mira over, she would likely be sent far away to a place cold, unfamiliar, and dangerous. If he resisted, he risked everything, his job, his home, his freedom. But the sight of those two little girls, united and trusting him, left no room for doubt. "I don't care about the consequences," Ethan said firmly, meeting the man's gaze. "She is my responsibility now. You will not take her." Lily squeezed Mira's hand, tears brimming in her eyes. "See? Dad said you can stay," she whispered softly, as if to reassure her new sister. The men exchanged a look but said nothing. They knew their words alone could not break the human determination standing before them. Without another word, they left, the hum of their hover vehicle fading into the distance. Ethan exhaled slowly, the weight on his shoulders still heavy. He turned back to the girls. Mira was hiding her face in Lily's chest, trembling from fear, relief, and exhaustion all at once. Lily hugged her tightly, whispering softly, "It's okay. You're safe now. Forever." Ethan knelt beside them, placing his hands gently on their shoulders. "I'll protect you," he promised. "No matter what happens, you are family now, and no one can take that away." That night, as the three of them sat together on the couch sharing a quiet meal, Ethan realized that danger could come at any moment, but it would never break the bond they had formed. He understood something deeper. Being human wasn't about avoiding fear or following rules blindly. It was about standing up, protecting the innocent, and fighting for love, even when the world tried to pull it away. For the first time, Mira relaxed fully in his presence, resting her head against Lily. And for the first time, Ethan felt a courage he didn't know he had, the kind that only comes when love demands it. The city outside might be indifferent. The rules might be cruel. But inside their small apartment, three hearts beat as one, and nothing could tear them apart. The next morning, Ethan woke early, the sunlight soft and golden through the curtains. The apartment felt quiet, almost too quiet, as if the world outside had paused for a moment, but he knew it hadn't. He knew the black-suited men could return at any time. He knew danger waited beyond the walls of his home. He found Lily sitting on the couch, Mira curled up against her side, still half asleep. Lily's small hand rested on Mira's back, stroking it gently. Ethan's chest tightened. His daughter had grown so much in the past week, braver, kinder, more determined. And Mira? Mira had started to relax, but only because of Lily's presence and his promise to protect her. Ethan sat beside them quietly, watching the two girls. He thought about the rules he had broken, the risks he had taken, and the consequences that could come crashing down at any moment. But he also thought about what mattered most, their safety, their happiness, their family. Lily spoke softly, almost a whisper. "Dad, please don't let them take her. She's my sister now." Ethan looked at her, her eyes shining with hope and trust. His heart ached. He realized then that the decision wasn't about legality or rules. It was about love. It was about family. It was about doing what was right, even when it was frightening. He reached out and took Mira's small hand in his. She flinched slightly at first, then relaxed when she realized he meant no harm. Her black eyes searched his, silent questions filling the space between them. Ethan knelt down to be at her level, his voice gentle but steady. "You're safe with us," he said. "I'll make sure no one can hurt you. Not now. Not ever." Mira blinked, tears brimming in her large eyes. She didn't speak, but her trembling hands spoke volumes. Ethan understood. She had experienced fear, abandonment, and loss. But now, here, she could finally feel something new: love, safety, and trust. Lily leaned closer to Ethan, her small voice full of conviction. "Dad, you can't let anyone take her away. She's part of our family. She belongs here." Ethan nodded slowly, his mind made up. He had thought about the consequences, about the risks, about what he could lose. But none of it mattered compared to the bond that had formed between these two little girls and himself. Mira had become family, and he would do anything to protect that. Later that day, Ethan prepared for the possibility of confrontation. He moved the furniture slightly, making the apartment feel lived in but organized, like a place where love and care had built walls stronger than any rules or threats. He stayed alert, listening to every sound outside, every distant hum, every footstep on the street. But he didn't act out of fear. He acted out of determination, a quiet, steady courage that came from the knowledge that family was worth everything. That evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky turned shades of pink and purple, Ethan called Mira and Lily to the living room. He knelt on the floor looking at both of them and said something he had never imagined he would say so firmly. "You're my family. We stay together. Always. No one can take that away from us." Mira's eyes filled with tears and Lily hugged her tightly, whispering, "See? I told you Dad said you can stay forever." Ethan smiled softly, his chest full of emotion he could not put into words. He realized that this choice, dangerous, uncertain, and terrifying as it might be, was also the only choice he could make. Love, compassion, and family were worth every risk. And in that small apartment with the two girls beside him, he finally understood the true meaning of being human. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt complete. He felt hope, courage, and an unshakable determination. He had chosen to protect what mattered most, and nothing, no law, no fear, no outsider, could change that. The night was calm outside, the city lights flickering softly against the dark sky. Inside the small apartment, Ethan sat on the couch with Lily and Mira close beside him. He could hear Mira's gentle breathing and Lily's soft whispers of reassurance. For a moment, the world outside seemed distant, irrelevant. But Ethan knew that peace could not last forever. The hum of a vehicle outside shattered the quiet. Ethan's heart tightened. He had expected this moment, the black-suited men returning, demanding Mira be handed over. He rose to his feet, muscles tense, but his mind was clear. He had made a choice, and he would not waver. The men knocked sharply on the door. Their voices, cold and professional, cut through the room. "Mr. Carter, it's time to surrender the alien child. Compliance is mandatory." Ethan's eyes met Lily's, and he saw the fear in her expression mirrored in Mira's trembling form. But he also saw trust, the belief that he would do what was right. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, standing between the girls and the strangers. "She's mine now," Ethan said firmly. His voice was calm but unyielding. "You're not taking her." The taller man's jaw tightened. "You understand the consequences. You could face imprisonment. You could lose your daughter's guardianship. Yet you defy us?" Ethan nodded, his gaze unwavering. "I understand, and I accept it. But family is worth more than fear. She belongs here, with us. Not with your rules, not with your papers." Lily's small voice rang out, steady and clear. "See? Dad said you can stay." She hugged Mira tightly, pressing her cheek to Mira's soft blue skin. Mira clung to Lily, finally allowing herself to feel safe, loved, and at home. The men hesitated, realizing that no argument, no threat could break the bond standing before them. Ethan's words carried the strength of something greater than rules, something older, stronger, and entirely human. Love, family, courage. After a long, tense moment, the men stepped back. They left without another word, the hum of their hover vehicle fading into the night. Ethan exhaled slowly, the weight in his chest loosening just slightly, but he did not celebrate. There would be challenges, warnings, and perhaps threats in the future. Still, he knew this truth. They were together, and that could never be taken away. Ethan knelt down beside the two girls. Mira's tears were still wet on her cheeks, but her eyes shone with trust and gratitude. Lily whispered softly, brushing Mira's hair from her face. "See? We told you it would be okay." Ethan pulled both girls close, holding them tightly. "Forever," he whispered. "I promise, forever." The apartment, once quiet and tentative, now felt alive. Laughter returned slowly as Mira tried to smile through her tears, Lily giggling and coaxing her to join in. Ethan realized something profound. Humanity was not measured in technology, rules, or power. It was measured in choices, in the courage to protect, to love, and to stand up for those who could not defend themselves. Mira, for the first time since she had arrived, felt completely safe. She pressed her tiny hand against Ethan's chest and whispered a word that Ethan didn't understand, but the meaning was clear. It was gratitude, trust, and a recognition that this man and his daughter had given her something she had never known: family. Lily leaned her head against Ethan's shoulder. "We did it, Dad," she said softly. "We're a real family now." Ethan smiled, holding both girls close. "Yes," he said. "We are, and no one can take that from us." Outside, the city carried on, indifferent to the small human alien family inside. But inside those walls, warmth, courage, and love filled every corner. In that tiny apartment, Ethan, Lily, and Mira had created something extraordinary, something stronger than fear, stronger than law, stronger than the universe itself. A family. And in that moment, Ethan understood the true power of being human, the power to love beyond limits, to protect beyond reason, and to open one's heart to the unexpected. He had chosen humanity, and in doing so, he had changed 3 lives forever. Mira smiled, Lily giggled, and Ethan held them both. Outside, the stars shone brightly, as if celebrating their choice. And inside, a human heart had given 2 little girls the greatest gift they could ever receive: home, family, and forever.